What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Citywide, coming at you with the second part of my three-part review of Saints Row. We got the new revamped Saints Row coming out August 23rd this year, hoping for it to be a banger, but figured I'd make a video and show you what the amazing Saints Row 2 has to offer. Alright, so in 2008 is when Saints Row 2 came out, again competing with good old GTA 4. Again, too similar but slightly different games. GTA went all realistic, Saints Row still stayed animated, still stayed fun. There's a lot of character references from Saints Row 1 in Saints Row 2. Now, without going into too many spoilers, we meet up with one of our old homies, Johnny Gat. Can't forget about him. We also run into some new homies being Carlos, Shondi, and Piers, and they're helping us rebuild Saints Row. Again, not going to try and do too many spoilers in this video, but there are some old homies that come in and other old homies that you meet along the way. Now, in this Saints Row, we're not operating out of the old church that we initially were in the first one. We're actually working out of a hotel that an earthquake has put half the hotel underground and the other half of the hotel is still standing above ground, and this becomes our new base of operations. Since the events that had happened at the end of Saints Row 1 and the very beginning of Saints Row 2, the old church that we used to have our gang hideout at has now been taken over by a new group called the Altar Corporation, and basically they revamped the old Saints Row into a new residential and commercial industry, trying to say, hey, Saints Row, disappeared, we're coming in, everything's going to be good, there's going to be no more gangs. But classic Saints Row, there's gotta be gangs. So there's the Altor Corporation, which is one of the gangs. There's the Ronin, the Brotherhood, and the Sons of Samedi. And these four groups are the gangs that we're essentially taking out bit by bit by bit, similar to in Saints Row 1. You take out enough of the hoods, eventually you fight the gang leaders. Once you take them out, now you own the turf, you're making your money off them, all that kind of stuff. So now that basically the slight overview of what the game is out of the way, the biggest thing is there's co-op. Oh my god, this is the Saints Row that I just absolutely love. I cannot stop ranting and raving about how amazing this Saints Row is with co-op. Holy moly, I must have put into Saints Row 2 at least 300 plus hours over the 360 when the Xbox One original came out, and not too much with the Series X, but definitely the 360 days. Oh my god, nothing but hours and hours of customization. My cousin and I would game this 24/7. It's full co-op. You can do activities together, you can do the main story together, you can both go get vehicles, meet up at the good old rim jobs. Now you're customizing cars. Whose car looks more dope than the last one? Oh, it is just a hoot. Not to mention going through doing insurance fraud or mayhem and having two people, because in mayhem you can have one person cruising, the other person causing tons of destruction. That guy who's cruising, you're just whizzing grenades out the window. Or when you're doing insurance fraud, having both of you go and kind of competing against each other to see who can rake in the highest amount of money. Oh, it's one of those things where even though you've completed the activities, it's like, man, I'm bored, I'm chilling. Go do some insurance fraud, mayhem, snatch, demolition derby, whatever the activity is. It was so fun, and especially having a homie, someone else with you. You're just jamming out to the tunes in this game. You're just cruising. You guys got your customized vehicle. In this one, unfortunately, you can only get a blunt or a 40. They don't have all the other plethora of drugs, it sucks, but nothing would be funner than just having one guy load up on 4 40s, one guy load up on 4 blunts, and then next thing you know, you're cruising down the neighborhood, shooting at your rival gang and stuff like that. Just smoky screen on one person and drunk screen on the other. Oh, it's just so much fun to be had with co-op in this game. All right. But enough about how amazing the co-op is, because I could literally go on about how many different things my cousin and I did, and this way, we did it that way. We tried the campaign. One of us was a guy, one of us was a girl, one of us was just a fat, whatever kind of person, and then the other person, oh, just the amount of customization of making your characters just look. One person, would be trailer trash. The other person, you'd try and make like a king or some sort of royalty. And there's just so many times where, you're thinking of, oh, this is how I'm going to do my character. And without talking to the other person who you're doing co op with, they're making their character. And then you guys look at each other's characters and you're like, man, why are we so funky? All right, off the co-op topic. So in Saints Row 2, there is some changes from the first. There's co-op again added into it. There's the new redesigned map, slightly bigger, some islands that you can also now go visit, different gangs. There's helicopters added, there's planes added, boats, a ton more new civilian vehicles, couple new weapons, couple new activities, slight graphics improvement from the blockiness to a little less blockiness. They still stayed pretty animated, whereas if you compare it from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 4 went way realistic, where San Andreas, again, slightly cartoony, but a little bit realistic. Saints Row just said, nope, we're an animated kind of game. We're going to stay that way and not try and look super realistic. However, from going from Saints Row 1 to Saints Row 2, there are some things that I wasn't super thrilled that they removed, and that was when you'd go to the brown baggers and you were able to get cognac and bongs. Now all you can get from a brown baggers is going to be the 40s and the blunts. And with removing this, I get it. It's not something that drastically affects the gameplay, but why the bleep would they remove that? It's one of those things where it's like, hey, the game's getting some traction. People enjoyed Saints Row 1-ish, and then Saints Row 2 coming out. Hey, let's make it a rated M game, but let's remove the drugs. Let's remove some of the alcohols so that every 5-year-old can now play this game and be like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. It's an M-rated game. Why take out some of those things that made this game way different than Grand Theft Auto? Like, that was one of the, at least for me, features that I kind of enjoyed, that there was an actual game you could go and be like, hey, you know what? Let's go get drunk. Hey, you know what? Let's go get high. Now it's just like, well, you still can, but we're going to remove more of those options. Like, I get it. The customizing of the characters, way more in this one. In Saints Row 2, your character actually talks. You're no longer a mute. Like, but one of those things that when you improve upon something, you're not improving upon it when some of the cool features that only your game has, you're removing. So from losing some drugs, there is actually a lot of things that Saints Row 2 did add into this game. Tons more customization. Your character can be male or female. Added some more activities, but unfortunately they chopped the story down. So if you're playing this game mostly just for the story, it's roughly about 20 hours to complete. But the second you go on to the radio stations, same radio stations, but they've just added new music to it, and holy moly, there's so many songs in here that will bring back nostalgia, and you're just going to be like, oh yeah, this is what I missed. So for the review for this game, I would give it a 10 out of 10. I am upset that they removed being able to choose different types of drugs, different types of alcohol. I am still really glad that they had the 40s and the blunts still in there. Would have been nice if they would have kept to Saints Row 1 with a bit of variety, not that it changes much. Something, though, that's just kind of like you enjoy it in one game, why bother removing it from the other? The co-op campaign makes up for it by tenfold. The soundtrack in this game, oh my, it brings the whole game together just listening to the radio. Because I would say between Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row, any kind of game of that variety, you're always cruising around. You're always the driver, the guy that's got to be the wheelman who's going to drive over to A, gun down this guy, go do errands, pick up groceries for Grandma Sanders, bring it back to the old folks' home, all that kind of stuff. Saints Row 2, one of the top, if not the best Saints Row game, in my opinion, to play. So if you're getting hyped up for the new Saints Row coming out in August here, and you're thinking of redoing it, and you're like, I can't buy the first one because I have a different console, even starting with the second, you're going to have tons of fun. And if you've never played it before, this is the time. Wait for it to go on sale, or if you've got a computer, G2A or something like that, pick it up cheap. It's going to be worth the 20 hours. You're going to put more time into this game and absolutely love it. If you own Saints Row 3 or 4, I'm sorry, But Saints Row 2 is definitely the game that's going to give you your money's worth and then some. You know the deal. Comment, rate, subscribe. It's your boy Citywide. Checking out. Peace.